Welcome. I'm David Del Val for VCI, and this is our special director's presentation of Curtis Harrington's Ruby. I have with me with great pleasure the director of that film, whom you've been listening to hopefully on the audio commentary with Piper Laurie, director Curtis Harrington. And I think my first question is going to be, what are the 6 minutes that keep this from being the definitive cut of Ruby?
Frankly, when I saw it recently, it really surprised me because it was the ending was much more elaborate in the original version. I would say that the film, though, for those who have just seen it, you know that it is intact up to the end. But that very abrupt and sudden ending left out a number of shots and so on, all of which I can't quite remember now.
Well, I think it's important for the audience to understand that the underwater scene with the skeleton that embraces what we think is Piper Laurie, you didn't shoot that at all.
I didn't shoot that, no.
Your ending had them embracing...
It was much, yes, it was a much more poetic ending. It didn't have that a horror element. That was shot by the film's producer behind my back. I knew nothing about it. Well, and because the original ending was that she met her lover finally, and she was finally reunited with him. But it was clear that you know that he was only visible to her, and together he leads her into the water, and the implication is that she happily goes.
So it's not a terror ending at all.
Not at all.
It's kind of like a watery Ghost in Mrs. Muir.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And then Roger Davis, who plays the psychic investigator in this, has more scenes.
He, I think in the original version, he narrated the whole film. There is still a vestige of that at the beginning of the film, of his voice.
But then it's taken.
But then at the end, you see him having talked this whole story into a tape recorder. And
well, I would have found that more of an ending suitable to you than what I saw.
It was, and that was my ending. And where it disappeared, I don't know.
Well, would you say then, as the director of Ruby, that what we've just watched is like 85 to 90% the way you wanted it to be?
It is.
So if we say it's the director's cut, it's as close after, because the audience should be aware that there was a number of years where this film was disowned by you altogether.
Well, that was still another version.
Another
that was
version.
A very much truncated and changed version.
So
that was made exclusively for showing on a network at the time when they had what they call standards and practices, and all the violence in the film, the various gangsters being killed by the spirit, none of that could be shown on television, on network television. So the producer made another version entirely with a lot of additional scenes that I had nothing to do with. And that particular version, which was oddly available for years in VHS, in a video version, my name was not on it.
Well, Ruby was, of all your films, the most successful commercially. Which there must be an irony there, and it is the film that you
I heard,
haven't
maybe
been able
you
to
can correct me,
for
but I heard that it was the biggest moneymaker, independent moneymaker before Halloween.
That's true. That was a documented fact. And while we're on the subject of your films and the difficulties in which you've had making each and every one, because having known you for so long, I know how much work goes into just planning a film. If we go back to what is one of my favorites in your first commercial feature, Night Tide, which starred Dennis Hopper and Luana Anders, who was a wonderful actress that we both missed terribly, that Jack Nicholson even thanked when he accepted one of his Oscars.
Oh, yes.
This woman is having a love affair with the supernatural.
I'm here, Nikki.
Baby, how I want you. Something is disturbed him. Something powerful. Very powerful. Ruby!
Piper Laurie was frightening in Carrie. She is terrifying as Ruby. Christened in blood, raised in sin, she's sweet 16. Let the party begin.
It's here. It's very strong.
First, there was The Exorcist, then The Omen and Carrie. But nothing you have ever seen before could prepare you for what you are going to see in Ruby. Starring Piper Laurie.
It was never Jake. It was always you. You believe me now, don't you, Nicky? You have to believe me now. I did it for you, Nicky. Look what I did.
Stuart Whitman. Roger Davis.
The presence is real, with motives of his own. Leslie is a natural medium. What I'm afraid of now is that the presence may be powerful enough to act without the benefit of Leslie's mind.
And introducing Janet Baldwin as Ruby's daughter. Ruby will take you further into the world of the supernatural than any film has ever dared.
Oh, there's the infamous coat. Before we started, we were supposed to have this fabulous, beautiful, full-length mink or ermine coat.
Yes.
And this was the best they could come up with.
Oh, I remember
Looks
that.
like a rat.
There was a problem of some sort with the coat, I remember.
Money.
Was that it? Well, that was Krantz, of course, being, tight-fisted, as he always was.
I remember this was a very tiring evening.
I should imagine we probably
long
shot
night.
most of the night, didn't we?
Yeah.